The story follows Ray White, an ordinary. He joined the Arnold Academy of Sorcery. It's his first day in the academy, so he doesn't know about anything. But after students get to know about him, students start discrimination. Al, who belongs to a sorcerer family, starts bullying him. But at that time Amelia Rose helps Ray. Amelia Rose belongs to the top 3 noble families, so everyone fears her and leaves Ray. The Arnold Academy of Sorcery's principal is Abby Garnett, who is known as the Blaze Sorcerer. She gave a speech at the auditorium about the school and its purpose of it. Ray White now introduces himself to the class. Other students didn't like him because he's ordinary, so they asked how and why he got a chance to study at Arnold Academy. Teacher answered that he got the chance in the right way as the others got. The teacher studies the basics of sorcery and one of the students asks questions about anti-material code, and the teacher answers that no sorcerer uses anti-material code. Ainsworth's twofold code theory is a matter. The teacher asked everyone to use prima mater to make something. Ray made a small ice cube, while Rose made a big rose ice. Everyone was shocked after seeing that Ray also can do sorcery, but it's child-level sorcery. Ray found that girl who asked questions about Ainsworth's code theories, and her name is Elisa Griffith, who is a half-elf, so she always wears a hoodie to hide her ear. Elisa's role model is Ainsworth and she wants to become like her. Ray talks to her and advises her to not wear a hoodie because she's also looking good in those big ears. Elisa likes her thinking and says that he's more mature than anyone. Ray remembers something after hearing that mature word, where a man says that Ray is more mature than his age. Ray goes to his room and finds Evie Armstrong, who is waiting for him. The two talk like they're strangers, but soon it feels like they know each other very well. Ray is jogging in the morning and has an encounter with Rebecca Bradley, who's a third-year student at the Arnold Academy of Sorcery. Ray also made Rebecca her friend. While going to school, Evie gives some knowledge to Ray about the noble family and the friends he made yet come from 2 Nobel families like Rose, and Bradley. Ray asks Evie to go because the principal called him. While going to the principal office, Ray encounters another girl, Clarice Cleveland, who has long pigtail hair. Ray also impressed her and made her friend. Ray now meets the principal and addresses her as Colonel. Abby asks him to not address her on that name. He can call her Abby. The first period of the class is practical swordsmanship, where Al is waiting to beat Ray. Al attacks Ray, but Ray easily defends the attack, so Al uses the sword to attack straight, but his sword gets destroyed by Ray's sword and everyone is in shock. Abby Garnett watches this all from the top of the castle and says that she's happy that Ray is enjoying his school life, and at the end, he addresses him as the Iceblade Sorcerer, with Ray making the acquaintance of some well-known nobles, while at the same time gaining the disdain of others who hold one's status in high regards. Having learned about how magic works, some details of the past war, we learn that Ray is joining 2 clubs at once. The first one he joins is the Environmental Research Club, meaning they explore forests, rivers, all the way up to the glacier regions. People refer to them as hunters. Members talk amongst themselves at Ray's appearance, as the weak body or mind won't be able to keep up. The leader of the club has Ray remove his clothes for evaluation, to which all but his roommate Evie is surprised at his bulk. The leader questions if he has a hunter license, to which Ray remarks about the leader's keen insight. This has the members chattering about his gold hunter license along with his bulk, which leads to Ray's acceptance into the club. Next he goes to join a club that is full of girls, stating that he's interested in plants that can grow even in the most appalling environments. Rebecca has no issue with permitting him to join. Yet Dina Sarah objects to this, saying that it's obvious he just wants to get close to her by joining, which has the other girls talking in concern about letting a guy into the flower garden. So Rebecca delegates his application to Dina for evaluation. She has him fix up a space that was provided to them for a new garden, giving him only a week to do the task must be done by himself. We watch as 2 days go by with him clearing the weeds, fixing the plots for the flowers as his friends watch. Rebecca comes by one day during the process to give him a sandwich to eat. They hear the clashing of swordplay down before take a look. Rebecca tells Ray that the Magic Chevalier will be coming up soon, which is a competition to find the strongest magic sword fighter. When asked if he was going to participate, he responded with he'll think about it. She goes on to stare at his muscles, asks if she can touch them. He permits it. She admires how hard his biceps are, as she's never touched a man's muscles before. Wanda, her followers, watch from a window nearby, saying that's a typical mindset for an ordinary. On day 4 the new garden is finished ready for flowers to be planted. Which amazes the members of the club. Dina has no choice but to say that he passes. Then the group begins to plant some flowers in the garden. As the sun set, Ray thinks back to his conversation with Principal Abby. She informs him of spies from the Empire having infiltrated the kingdom. There is a chance the Academy was also infiltrated. She wants Ray to inform her if he finds anything. We also learn that the state of affairs within the kingdom is a mess. Abby would prefer if at all possible the matter is resolved in secret. After coming out of the flashback, Ray notices Clarice crouching at the side of the path. She is startled when he speaks to her. He asks what she is doing. Clarice tells him she was watching pill bugs, admits that unlike others she likes insects. Ray compliments her, says that he likes insects as well. He finds it to be a great honor to be her friend. Which shocks Clarice, makes her happy to finally have a friend. The following day we learn about derivations of sorcery. Miss Gray calls on Ray to explain. The 7 derivations are quick, remote, chain, delay, material shift, extensive chain. The class is astonished while Albert is disgusted. The class ends. Miss Gray informs them that the practical exercise will be out in the Kafka forest. Everyone begins to make their group of 4. Ray is left on his own until Evie joins him. Ray then invites Elisa to join them. She is reluctant as she believes she would only hold them back. Ray places his hand under her chin, makes her look at him. While his face is close to hers, he convinces her to join them. Rose asks if they still have an open spot. Ray says the spot was already hers from the start. To which the class is shocked. Albert is showing obvious hostility. We then transition to the forest where the groups are being briefed on the drill they are to do. They must find as many checkpoints as possible, make it to the center within 24 hours. Any collected after the time limit will not count to the overall points. Everyone reaches their starting points. Ray's group works out their positions as the signal to being is given. After wandering the forest, Ray's group is confronted by a large bug. Ray slices it in 2 with ease, which astonishes his group. They continue on, find a stamp. We then get to see other groups searching the forest. When we see Clarice, she is admiring a huge bug while the rest are frightened. Night falls. Ray's group makes camp. Rose appears to be getting suspicious of Ray's backwoods cover. The group chats among themselves before calling it a night. Ray stays up to keep watch, thinks back to his master. We get a flashback to his master telling him that she won't tell him to keep his identity hidden forever. His situation is quite special, so if he wants a normal life it would be best to keep it a secret. Yet if he finds friends that he can absolutely trust, Ray contemplates on what to do. The next day while searching the forest, Ray's group hears a scream. Ray goes on ahead of them to check it out. It turns out that Albert's group is in trouble. Albert wonders how Ray could move so quickly as he takes it down in a single blow. Ray offers him a hand, to which he declines. Ray's group catches up, helps get the others free. From the shadows a mysterious figure revives the monster. As Ray is fighting the monster, he finds it to be unusually sturdy. Albert's group continues to watch while the 3 of them are getting unstuck. Meanwhile, Clarice's group is not far off when Clarice hears the howl. As she is checking it out, she remains hidden behind some tree watching the fight. Ray is about to use some of his hidden power, when his friends step in to give him a hand. This gives Ray an opening to cut the monster in half. While Ray wonders what was with that monster, his friends compliment him. Clarice is amazed to have seen how strong Ray was. As his group is talking, one of Albert's members mentions that Ray may not be a wizard after all. This only angers Albert. He tells his group to head out. Then Ray's group collects the final stamp, as Elisa is being carried by Ray. As they talk, Amelia jumps onto Ray's back as well, starts playing with Elisa. We then transition to Ray's group having received the highest score. Clarice is the only one to be seen clapping with enthusiasm. Which comes to a stop when she notices the others looking at her in disdain. Wanda, her 2 friends agree that it was only because of Amelia that Ray was up there at all. Amelia comments that it's typical of nobles to be like that, complains under her breath. Ray is happy that his friends care about him as they do. New theories equal new threats. It has been 2 months since Ray had gone to the academy. Lydia is waiting impatiently at a window. Her maid, Carla, converses with her about Ray. As they are talking, Carla notices him coming, invites him in. After Lydia and Ray greet each other, They take a seat, begin to chat. Lydia expects it to take 5 years or so for him to be able to use his ability fully. Yet it appears using it is considered to be strictly forbidden. Lydia tells him it is, but if he ever felt that it was absolutely needed, he would have to make the call. She also mentions that she had passed the mantle of Iceblade Sorcerer over to him. She then proceeds to the matter in which he was called to come over. It regards a rumor spreading among the sorcery researchers. She says she wouldn't bother with some petty rumors, but engram was a whole other matter. Lydia begins to talk about sorcery research, how she is researching the brain instead of sorcery itself. Announcing the twofold theory triggered a new movement. The part of the brain where memories of sorcery are stored is engram. Then people who'd do anything to get what they want appear. Instead of using sorcery to analyze the brain, these people rummage around inside of a sorcerer's brains. They have no issue about crossing the line of humanity. They call themselves eugenics. They had invited Lydia to join. According to Carol, they have already begun reaching out to other prominent sorcerers. Having finished the conversation, they go outside for a walk. While reminiscing about the past, Lydia brings up the question about Ray making some friends. He tells her a bit about them. She tells them to invite them to come next time, as she wants to meet those that got his smile to soften up. Then they discuss the upcoming Magic Chevalier, which is an event held between 3 of the kingdom's sorcery academies. Lydia had won the event 4 times, believes that Ray could do the same if he enters. Ray says that he would rather remain in the background. A reason being his recuperation, but also to cheer his friends on. She then gives Ray a small book she believes would be of use to him. Back at the academy, Ray is out running. As he passes by Elisa on her way out, he stops, talks with her. Ray ends up asking if it would be alright for him to join her as well. Having agreed, Ray got changed, met back up with her as she had also gotten changed while waiting. Ray then goes on to give her compliments. Having arrived at the library, Elisa reads one of Ainsworth's books, while Ray is reading a novel about love. Given that he doesn't know much about emotions, he is drawn to learn about them. After leaving the library, they are spotted by Clarice. She finds it hard to approach, tries to encourage herself. Having noticed her, the two walk over. Ray speaks to Clarice. He proceeds to invite her to have lunch with them. As they are sitting at the table, Ray introduces them to each other with sweet words about them, neither of which has done this sort of thing before. As they eat, the 2 girls begin to become more comfortable around each other. After lunch, the 2 of them, separate from Ray, walk off together. As Ray turns to the opposite direction, he notices Amelia having just exited a carriage. While she turns away from watching the carriage leave, she takes notice of him. While they are talking, she becomes jealous that he had spent time with 2 other girls. She asks him to accompany her somewhere as well. They went to a clothing store together. She puts on a fashion show for him, as he compliments her. As they are talking through the changing room curtain, Amelia is scared by a spider, rushes out into Ray. She suddenly realizes that she's barely clothed, rushes back in with embarrassment. Ray apologizes. Amelia tells him it wasn't an issue. Then, speaking to herself, saying she may be able to show her true self to Ray someday. We then transition to Miss Gray talking with Ray. She tells him he doesn't need to be so formal, as it was in the military. She asks him about how he is finding the life of a student to be. He gives his response, then asks if something had happened. Miss Gray simply states that she was worried, as he was the first ordinary since the inception of the academy. She was concerned that the noble students were causing him grief. Miss Gray apologizes that she is aware of it, currently can't do anything about it. She's aware that even though several years have passed since she became a teacher, she had still been trying to be a sorcery researcher. She wishes she had done more as a teacher than being an aloof researcher. The converse.